Intrinsic motivation refers to one's motivation to take part in an activity for its own sake, not because of external reinforcement. As you can see, some of the things that are positively associated with intrinsic motivation are enjoyment, satisfaction, autonomy, interest, and confidence. Sports coaches and leaders can increase intrinsic motivation of youth participants in sports by ensuring activities and tasks are enjoyable, interesting, and manageable. This helps them increase self-esteem and their esteem in their sporting competence. Intrinsic motivation is associated with increased enjoyment of the sport. It often results in better athletic performance. It is associated with higher participation rates. And external motivation, for example, medals, accolades, and money, does not necessarily produce the same drive that intrinsic motivation does. Josar, Hine, and Hager did a study that showed that motivational environments in sport is directly linked to increased persistence in youth sport. So providing a positive environment with intrinsic motives within it is essential for coaches to realise and act on. There is a general consensus, and perhaps what some would call common sense, that children and youth in sport should be coached differently to adults in sport. As seen in the pictures here, the coaching style of Style B coach is aggressive, controlling, and dictator-like. The players look scared and unhappy. However, Style A coach is demonstrating a much more effective approach, resulting in the players looking far happier and much more relaxed. For youth sports participants between the ages of 12 and 17, it is essential that they feel comfortable in the sporting environment, enjoy the sport and have fun, receive regular positive reinforcement and feedback, feel confident in their coaches, and are given the chance to develop leadership and decision-making skills. These are the coaching strategies that I would use to increase intrinsic motivation in youth and sports participants aged 12 to 17. These strategies can be utilised together to form one major coaching strategy. They include ensuring there is a cooperative environment, making sure that participants have fun, including positive reinforcement and feedback, ensuring coaches attend coach effectiveness training, and allowing some athlete control of practice. Motivation is key to participation in performance. It is essential that a coach provides a cooperative environment for youth to participate in sport. A cooperative environment is critical in maintaining and enhancing intrinsic motivation of athletes. It is in no way a competitive or comparative environment, but focused on team cohesion, cooperation between athletes and coaches, and encouraging the enjoyment of participation. The main points a coach should remember in order to implement this strategy are: no comparison of athletes, winning is not the emphasis, teamwork is the emphasis, a lot of encouragement, and that competitive environments are associated with increased dropout rates, decrease in self-confidence, and decreased intrinsic motivation. Environments established by the coach to include intrinsic motives for participation can increase team motivation and decrease dropout rates. Everyone loves to have fun, especially kids. So if sport isn't fun, why would they be motivated and driven to participate in it? When it comes to fun, coaches are limited only by their imagination. Coaches must ensure that they adapt training sessions and competition where possible to be fun. Coaches often forget how important it is to incorporate fun into sports. Therefore, it must be identified as an important coaching strategy. Increasing the fun in youth sports will maintain and increase intrinsic motivation dramatically. Not every athlete wishes to participate at an elite level. In fact, the majority of youth sport participants are not elite and don't wish to be elite. Therefore, coaches must be creative, create some fun, or risk losing youth participants. If the fun is taken away, the athletes won't stay. Positive reinforcement and feedback is a strategy that all coaches should employ if they wish their athletes to stay motivated and interested in the sport. Positive reinforcement from coaches has been found to increase participation in youth sports and keep athletes motivated. Sports participants between the ages of 12 and 17 are still striving to learn and develop their skills in the sport, so it is perfectly okay for a coach to give feedback and reinforce good behaviours and outcomes. Watson and Yao found that positive reinforcement is linked with increased participation in youth sports. Barnett, Small and Smith found that youth sport participants were more likely to return to a sport when their coach had given them feedback and reinforcement. The sandwich technique is a good way to give youth sports participants feedback, and we'll touch on this in just a second. And it's really important to encourage kids to accept feedback in a positive way that can help them develop in their sport. Now, the sandwich technique of giving feedback is a good technique that can be used by coaches for this age group. Basically, you offer a compliment, deliver the criticism, then offer a compliment to finalise. For example, "Hey Johnny, you're improving on your batting, but you just have to make sure you keep your eye on the ball the whole time. Overall though, I'm impressed with how hard you are trying." Coach effectiveness training. Coach effectiveness training equips coaches with the appropriate tools they need to coach and teach effectively. It incorporates ways in which to communicate with players, ensure there is high levels of interaction between coach and athlete, ways in which to deal with different types of players, and ways in which to provide an environment that is fun, healthy, and brings out the best in each individual athlete. Further, it provides coaches with greater self-confidence in the coaching role, which in turn inspires more self-confidence in athletes. This should be a strategy used by all coaches to enhance their coaching ability, knowledge, and skills, as it is directly affecting the participants in the sport and ultimately the success of the team or individual athlete. Barnett, Small and Smith found that the following through their study on CET. Players who trained under a CET-trained coach were more likely to return to the sport the following year. CET can help coaches increase communication skills, decrease unresponsiveness, and increase reinforcement of players. CET can help coaches increase fun in sport, and players' self-confidence is increased under CET coaches. Athlete control of practice. Athlete control of practice does not mean letting athletes run sessions, coach or teach. It simply refers to allowing athletes to have a small part in their development during training. Watson et al. Referred to ACP as a decision to give athletes a small control of practice as a reward for good behaviour, great effort, or team cohesion. For example, a coach says to a team, "Team, you have behaved and listened to all of my instructions really well this session and for the last week. I'm really impressed, so I'm going to let you choose the next drill we do out of A, B, and C. What will it be?" The team should discuss and choose cooperatively and then vote on the decision. The team says, "We want to do B, coach. We love B. It is so much fun." This is allowing players to develop their leadership and decision-making skills. In summary, these coaching strategies are ones that should be implemented in all youth sports. These strategies increase intrinsic motivation directly and indirectly. It is the role of the coach to ensure the sporting environment is one which promotes intrinsic motivation. And if the coaches adopt these strategies, their athletes will feel successful, develop sporting and personal skills, and maintain a high level of motivation and desire to participate in sport. These are the strategies that I would use if I was looking to increase intrinsic motivation in youth sports participants between the ages of 12 and 17.